Good morning, everyone. I just found something that I had not seen before. Apparently, during this whole debacle about the coronavirus, what's happened is that there are people that's trying to take opportunities in all forms and fashions. Everybody's trying to make some bucks on this, and none more so than corporations and stock investors and such investors, stock market holders, all those people. And forgive me, I am only on my second cup of coffee. I just started my second cup of coffee. I'm not quite with it right now. But the thing is that back in March, apparently, and all these different people trying to go and find the cure for this ooga booga. What's happened is people get to make up all kinds of stories about the US, Trump, everybody, by using what's called sources. They won't name the sources, they just say sources or some position. And none of it can be verified. Nobody could be held to the fire when they're lying to the media, or the media is making it up. That's not hard to believe at all. So let's get into this. What had happened in March? Basically, what those. Let me find it again. And of course, that's in German, so I can't tell you what that reads. Let me go ahead and close that since it's not going to do. Let's go. Everybody loves Snopes. Everybody loves Snopes as a debunker, right? So the headline is, did Trump try to poach coronavirus vaccine from Germany? Okay. We're assuming that there is a vaccine. Okay. They don't give very much. Anyway, Snopes, right? Another headline is EU weighs into German American spat over vaccine company. All right. Now, many of you might have seen this if you watch the mainstream media. I don't. I missed this whole thing. I heard nothing about it until this morning when I was watching another video, and they basically didn't like how the United States acted, and so we looked bad for it. Okay, so what it was is apparently in early March, there's a vaccine company, and it's called CureVac. I think, right? CureVac, VacCure. Let's see. Anyway, let me go ahead and go into the topics here, and let me find the first report on it. Where did it go? And there it is. We're talking about the Pharma Letter, New York Times, Market Watch, Fierce Biotech, Finance Yahoo, Business Insider, who is usually more reputable than New York Times, but Business Insider really made a mistake with this too. What happened was all these headlines about how Trump tried to buy out the German vaccine company, and for exclusive rights to the United States. So let's get into it. So the EU weighs into German-American spat over a vaccine company. This apparently was on the big news media outlets. Brussels has entered into an ill-tempered diplomatic skirmish between Germany and the United States over a company that is developing a vaccine against coronavirus. CureVac, a company based in the German town of Tübingen, hit the headlines over the weekend when Germany's Welt am Sonntag newspaper reported that the United States President Donald Trump was attempting to snatch up exclusive rights to the business's coronavirus vaccine developed in cooperation with publicly funded German institute. While the report has pitched U.S. and German officials into war of words, the European Commission said Monday that it would offer the company a guaranteed loan worth 80 million euros to scale up development and production of vaccine against coronavirus in Europe. After days of being identified as bad guys in the EU coronavirus saga for banning the export of medical equipment within Europe, German politicians are now queuing up for an opportunity to portray themselves as defenders of public in Europe and beyond. The economy minister, Peter Altmaier, said Germany's not for sale, while Health Minister Jens Spahn on Sunday insisted to the public broadcaster CDF that CureVac would develop any potential coronavirus vaccine for the whole world, not just for individual countries. So the U.S. ambassador to Berlin, that's Richard Grenell, however, described the story as plain wrong, and another U.S. official slammed reports about Trump's grab for the vaccine exclusivity as wildly overplayed. The U.S. government has spoken with more than 25 companies that claim that they can help with the vaccine, the official said. Most of these companies already received seed funding from U.S. investors. We continue to talk to any company that claims to be able to help, and any solution found would be shared with the whole world. Dietmar Hopp, the owner of the company, sought to put an end to the public fight on Monday, saying the business would stay in Germany, but confirmed that Trump had sought to secure exclusivity rights. It's not possible that a German company develops a vaccine and that it is used exclusively in the U.S. That was not an option for me, he told Germany Sport 1 when asked why he had refused an offer by Trump worth $1 billion. Okay, you can see how the story is framed, how they framed the story that Trump actually did this. He didn't do it. That's the thing. But everybody's operating on the premise that this was actually done. This is how these stories are going out. So that fellow Hopp, he's an investor whose fund holds over 80% of shares of CureVac. He said in a statement on Sunday that if we can soon develop an effective vaccine against coronavirus, this should be able to reach, protect, and help people not only regionally, but also worldwide in solidarity. I would be glad if this could be achieved from Germany through my long-term investment. Okay, so what this did, watch this. What this did is this investor is feeding this frenzy, feeding this story if he didn't produce it, if he didn't invent it. What this does is it boosts the value in that company. This news and all this fray is boosting value in that company. So the stocks and the investment, those who invested in it are making money. So they can make up a lie and insist that Trump did this. The company itself put out a contradictory statement on Twitter Monday lunchtime. CureVac has not received from the U.S. government or related entities an offer before, during, and since the task force meeting in the White House on March 2. CureVac rejects all allegations from the press. So according to the Welt report, the German government is considering offering payments to keep CureVac in Germany. A health ministry spokeswoman said the German government is very interested in the development of vaccines and active substances against the novel coronavirus in Germany and Europe. In this regard, the government is in intensive exchange with the company CureVac. While Germany's politicians are happy to attack Trump's America First politics, Germans, do you see where it's coming from? Where Hillary got this from? Yeah, she's been playing with this too. At any rate, the Germany First approach in the coronavirus by banning the export of protective equipment such as face masks to partner countries in the EU. Okay, so basically it didn't happen. Let's see if there's any more quotes. No, I've got this covered. This came from politico.eu. Then another one, this is German firm insists Trump didn't try to buy the coronavirus vaccine. The pharma company contradicts both German government and its main investor. Let's see if there's any new information in this one. There was no offer from Trump or any other governmental organizations to take over the company or have manufacturing slots reserved for exclusive vaccine production on the U.S. market. The Tübingen-based company on Sunday and Monday rejected reports that Trump had attempted to snatch up exclusive rights. So they have denied it all the way through. And they strongly, so the German government is also feeding this, okay? Hopp said in the Sport 1 interview that it's not possible that a German company develops vaccine and exclusively in the U.S. See, this guy is the one who's talking. Merkel told reporters on Monday that the German government has dealt very early on with Trump's reported takeover attempt. She said in reference to Hopp's statement that the issue has now been resolved. So she's still feeding it because she didn't tell the truth about it. If you look at it, that the issue has now been resolved. No, it hasn't been resolved. She didn't call him a liar. She didn't call the press a liar. That's what she should have done. That would have been a responsible thing. Just like Trump always says, you're fake news, you're fake news, you're fake news. doesn't hate. He's not at all ambivalent or I forgot what the other word is. It was right there. Anyway, so a member of CureVac Supervisory Board, Frederick von Bohlen, excuse me, tried to downplay Hop's comments during Tuesday's press conference and claimed that Hop was just summarizing all the information that came up from honestly, even we don't know where. There are open questions about CureVac's leadership. CEO Daniel Menechella, a U.S. citizen who had to abruptly leave the company after he participated earlier this month with the White House meeting where Trump reportedly approached him with this offer. See how they leave that hanging, that cliffhanger right there? Okay, so we'll deal with that, the CEO thing, in just a minute. Again, this comes from politico.eu. Now, so let's go to Snopes. Isn't this interesting? Okay, so did he try to poach the coronavirus vaccine from Germany? Confusing, substantiated reports that the United States offered large sums of money to secure a COVID-19 vaccine for exclusive U.S. Use. So it goes on into the whole story about the reports that happened and all this other preface and backstory nonsense. And what they do is they have the tweets where Richard Grenell said not true, the Welt story was wrong, but Business Insider, Reuters, and others went with it anyway, despite not having their own sources. Now everyone is backpedaling. CureVac also tweeted, to make it clear again on coronavirus, CureVac has not received from the U.S. government or related entities offer before, during, and since task force meeting in the White House on March 2nd. CureVac rejects all allegations from the press. So Snopes did put those tweets in there. They also say the U.S. may have expressed interest in acquiring CureVac and its ongoing research into COVID-19 vaccines, but reports that the Trump administration offered large sums of cash for exclusive rights to this vaccine have not been confirmed. So they're not debunking it, they're just saying it hasn't been confirmed. However, Associated Press reported on March 16, 2020, that the European Union was investing millions of dollars into the company in an effort to fund research for COVID-19 vaccine for use in Europe and beyond. There's nothing more that tells either or. But notice that when Snopes does a story, when they do a true or not true, about fake news, they usually say true or false or partially true, partially false, right? They have no such summary on this story. They're leaving it hanging so that people can assume that it's true. Normally, if it was Hillary in the same position, if Hillary was like doing something and was accused like this, they would have said false or partly true or whatever. But they did not do that on this. They're leaving it hanging so that people can speculate whatever the hell they want. And this is how the news really is, how the news and the mainstream media are scaring people to death and giving out all kinds of bad information. Now, here's something that was interesting that I found. We're going to talk about the CEO. Now, as of March 3rd, and the report was on March 2nd, the CEO, Menechella, biopharmaceutical company CureVac, was invited to the White House to discuss strategies and opportunities for the rapid development and production of coronavirus within the U.S. Trump, Pence, members of the task force, and high-ranking representatives of pharmaceutical and biotech companies were working on the outbreak's response. So the development on this, I'm trying to find where I lost something that was very, very important and curious about it. Hang on a second, I gotta find it. There we go. Okay, so here's something else, some backstory that you really need to know. So CureVac began the development, phase 1, rabies studies and all that stuff, the platform, and it's about viruses for rare diseases. Now, about CureVac AG. CureVac is a leading clinical stage biotechnology company in the field of messenger RNA, and that's how this thing happened. This thing works in the RNA and DNA. Okay, so there's a relationship, especially on the RNA. There's a video out there, and I'll have to put it in the link in the notes later, but explaining how that works. Anyway, so the technology with 20 years experience developing and optimizing this versatile molecule for medical purposes, the principle of CureVac's proprietary technology is used of mRNA as a data carrier to instruct the human body to produce its own proteins capable of fighting a wide range of diseases. The company applies its tech for the development of cancer, antibody, and treatment of rare diseases, and vaccines. Here we go, guys. Hold on to your seats. CureVac has received significant investments, among others from Diavini Hop Biotech Holding and the Bill and Boehringer Ingelheim Eli Lilly and Company, Genmab, CRISPR Therapeutics, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and others. CureVac is headquarters in Tübingen, Germany, with sites in Frankfurt and Boston, United States. Okay. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. There's a clash there. Can you see it? Anyway, I do not trust those two at all. I don't. So now let's get into the CEO of CureVac. And let's see here. I'll just do it this way. And because there was something else about this CEO debacle. He has been replaced. I was looking at the, yeah, here it goes. Was it something he said? Okay, fiercebiotech.com. Was it something he said? Biotech CEO who met Trump this month exits without a word. Manicella started the month as CureVac CEO, one of the privileged few to discuss the coronavirus response with the President Trump and kickstarting a vaccine trial against COVID-19. Then suddenly, with no explanation, he's no longer the chief executive of the Germany and Boston-based mRNA biotech, and has been immediately replaced by the man he in fact replaced, founder Ingmar Hauer. I don't know how to pronounce his name, sorry. So if you're confused, the company did little to clear things up in a brief statement that was strangely no quote from its former leader. The biotech said simply, Hauer is replacing Daniel Manicella in the function as CEO. Hauer had stepped down as CEO back in 2018, becoming the chair of the supervisory board, enabling then Chief Business Officer Manicella to take his place. He went to work on a new look R&D leadership team and blah, blah, blah. So since then, he met with Trump alongside the biggest names in biopharma, started CureVac's coronavirus vaccine program, and helped set up PACs like the likes of Eli Lilly, CRISPR Therapeutics, and Genmab. Now he's out. There's no word as to whether he's moving on to another company or retiring altogether. Let's see. And there is nothing more about it. Why did he get bounced? There is something very curious about that. And I'm trying to find stock performance of CureVac. Let's take a look at that. Let's see if we can find something on that. Let's see. CureVac. Stock performance. See, this is how we Google and look for things. Let's see. Let's see where it's sitting at. Okay, so founding date 2000 and CureVac capital raised. It looks like 2.8 million in Series A. Series B is 26.6 million. These are in millions. Series C is 35.3 and Series D is 104.4. Series E 76 and Series F 108. Series F1 is 29.5. Now, that's all in millions. That's the capital raised. CureVac investors. Gifford, DH Capital, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, OH Betelgeuse, Dave Niehop Biotech Holding, Baden-Württemberg, I'm sorry, Germans, I'm very sorry for not being able to pronounce this, Chartwave, Koppel family, Landeskreditbank, Baden-Württemberg, LBBW Asset Management, Northview Life Sciences, and Sigma Group. So the CureVac valuation is $1.5 billion. That's post-money valuation. Operating metrics. I'm trying to check and see what their profile looks like. Okay. Total funding and market valuation. So market valuation is $1.5 billion as of March 11th. Wait a minute, that's March 11th, 2015. Hold on. Total funding is $383.1 million. Let's see what else we've got. And I'm looking for a graph chart. You know how usually they have graph charts and showing the curves? I like pictures. I really do like pictures. And that, because that tells you what's going on for real. Now, back up to this and let's see here. I want to see what this performance it looks like. Why is Arctis on there? CureVac, Arcturus. Oh, CureVac and Arcturus Therapeutics announced broad strategic collaboration to advance next generation of lipid mediated mRNA therapeutics. It's still not telling anybody about the stocks. See, isn't it cute how they do that? You don't get to see exactly what. So what is the number on? What is their stock letters? Usually they have a stock letter, and you can see what it looks like. But I'm not seeing it. You know, like for instance, Toronto Stock Exchange is TSX, Motorola, what is it, MOT or something like that. BNTX on fire, QDEL, QDEL, all these different. Oh wait a minute, who's this? Let me take a look at this guy. CureVac back in the news. All right, so this is on March 18th. I'm scanning real quick to see if it tells you anything. Here's the thing. Everybody to consider when it comes to money, you think about it this way. Who's making money now? And that's all these biotech firms. That's who's making money now. And it makes me wonder. It's okay for these biotech companies to make all kinds of cash on these crises. But the guy in Hickson, Tennessee, who went around and bought all kinds of hand sanitizer and toilet paper and put it in his storage unit and tried to sell it, he's been not only denounced, but I think he's been arrested. All right, hang on. I've got messages. I did not see the chat going. Sorry about that, guys. Let me take a look. If there's any questions. Yeah, I was looking at the Trump chairman of the Fed Reserve, and I think it's a vicarious chairmanship, if you will. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Dawn. Thank you. She says, I listen to you because I trust you and your reports. These, let's see what Gates and Mark ZFB went in together and put Z in 50 million to vaccine. Gates, what, 100 million? Yeah, Snopes has been Snoped. Exactly. Right. I can't stand them. I really can't, because they're just like a lot of kind of like, kids in the schoolyard. I'm seeing a lot of that, a lot of behavior where acting like kids in the schoolyard. But where I'm getting at is who's making the money? Who's allowed to make the money? Okay. It's perfectly fine for these biotech companies, and these big corporations are allowed to make the money. Lay off their people, making big bucks, really a lot of money. Uber. Yeah, I'm calling you out, Uber. You're not taking care of your people. I know people personally that is working Uber, trying to make some money, and that's what they do every day. I just saw a report on Twitter where a guy got 82-cent tip. He's operating at a loss, Uber. Knock it off. Guys, Uber's a great idea. It was a great idea, but people are not making the money anymore. The people that are doing the work are not making any money. Okay, they're losing money. They're losing time. They're exhausted. And I know somebody personally that I've known since I was a little girl, losing money. Okay, treated like crap, scared to death. And she's using that money that she's trying to make with Uber is to supplement her lack of income. And you guys are just making a lot of bucks on this. And might I recommend, for those of you, I don't mean to say don't use Uber, but I think it's a horrible thing that's being done. And when you tip somebody, if you do tip somebody, and I recommend everybody tip. All right. Don't use your credit card for the tip. Use cash, because taxation is theft. It is a theft. And if you give somebody a cash tip, it's not on the receipt. Okay? All right. If you're going to tip, do that. Otherwise, call your friends and offer them gas money or something, like how we used to do it in the old days when we didn't have the money for taxis. See, taxis lost they lost a lot of business to Uber and Lyft because they were so high priced. Well, there's a reason they're high priced. It's a dangerous job. It's wear and tear on your own car. And the thing is you wouldn't do that to your friend. And if you would, you're just not a good friend. But anyway, off the Uber. But what I mean to say is that there's a lot of people, a lot of corporations, a lot of groups making a lot of money off of this crisis, off of this shutdown, I should say. Okay. And the related activities thereof. Here, let me say it that way too. People are making a lot of money, but not the people who are stuck at home, unable to work because the government has shut down different things. And it's not that the government is using force like they usually do. It's voluntarily shut down. So corporations, say for instance, you've got a mom and pop shop, and you sell a little bit of groceries and knickknacks, whatever have you. You're forced to close down because the government told you to. You're not making money. Your employees are not making money. And this so-called stimulus is not, it's not a grant from the government. It's not going to cover a lot of stuff. How many people are going to get, okay, so I'm single. I'll get $1,200. Ooh, really? $1,200? We've been on shutdown for what, 2 weeks? We can't go anywhere. So my imprisonment is going to be only worth $1,200, for one person, $500 for children. Oh, by the way, there's some other disinformation I'm going to debunk right now. Okay. There are people who are like in the Democrat groups, if you will, or liberal groups. And these people are usually listening to the mainstream media. They listen to the mainstream media because they think that they're getting informed. The problem is that they're not being informed. They're being lied to. Headlines saying that the poorest in America are going to get less than the richest in America, that there's more money that there's more money being given to the rich people than there is to the poor people. And they're using this stimulus, CARES Act, whatever they want to call it. For every adult in the house, for each adult, they get $1,200. Children, $500. Okay. So if you've got a family of 4, 2 working adults, 2 children, that's $2,400 plus, that's $3,400 for the whole family. Okay. You got that, right? If, for instance, though, you are a parent that works, but your spouse does not work, they're not a working parent, they're only going to get $500. Okay. You got to be working to get this. This stimulus is for those who work. Okay. Aside from children, of course. Now, the next thing is, that's an awfully low plane. Wow. Okay. There's an airfield some distance that way. But anyway, if you make $75,000 as a household income, all right, that's when the stimulus is going to be reduced. Your check is going to be reduced forever for a certain amount for each $1,000 you make a year. If you make $99,000 a year or more, then you get no stimulus check. None. Okay? So the rich are not getting more stimulus unless you're an owner of a big corporation like Bezos is of Amazon. Okay? Please stop with the disinformation. I understand we're all stressed out. We're getting cabin fever, going stir crazy. I'm not. I'm just go outside, breathe. Guys, breathe. All right. Make use of this time. You can't do anything else. You've got tons of internet. Use it. You can research and read books. You can teach your children things that they don't get taught in school. Yeah, like how to balance a checkbook. All right. Please teach your children that before they go into politics. Um, how to balance a checkbook. What other things? How to change the oil on the car. How to do practical things that they're not being taught in school. And by the time you all get home in the evenings, everybody's wiped out, tired, or just manic from having being sitting around all day. That will drive a person mad. It does. All right, let me check the chat room. Excuse me. And I want to say thank you for showing up, guys. I really do appreciate it. You have indoor orders there, and the dark establishment is very active, not following it. Disinformation almost stronger than the information right now, and it's crazy. It is, and that's what we're supposed to do. Ooh, Dawn, thank you. Boehringer Ingelheim is an animal products company mostly, and vaccines for animals. Oh, bravo. Thank you. See, I love the people who support me, and surely they've just come out with a whole bunch of good information, and I get to give it to you right away. So I'm going to I'm going to wind this up here in a few minutes because it's Sunday morning. I was not prepared to do this. I'm sure you could tell. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Those of you who did, and thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd like to look more into this. I want to know I want to see the stock jump, how much it jumped up when they made these announcements and started this political, newspaper crap. I want to see how much CureVac's investments went up. That's going to be the tell right there, because it's a fray and people are buying into it. I mean, I have more respect for Kim Kardashian than I do of that investor who fed that lie fury. Okay. Kardashian at least opened herself up for the world to see and made money that way. A lot more honest than this biotech company, or excuse me, not the biotech company, but the investor of that biotech company. I do believe that this was, just a kickstart on public relations. And here's the thing about it in marketing. Good news and bad news, famous and infamous, is all equal to each other. And what I mean by that, it's on the integer line. You know, the integer line that you learned in school? You got 0 in the middle. You got wait a minute, I don't know. This is left, right. Okay, so left, for me, it's 0. Okay, here, or 0's in the middle. -1, +1. Infamous and famous equals the same on the integer line. So basically, if it says -1, that still equals 1. Okay. So if you got a big splashy headlines all over the world showing this name, nobody would have heard of CureVac had it not been for these news reports. But now America knows about it, and what? All of America knows about it. The world, Europe is looking down at us because of this CureVac scream. This is thoroughly unfair. I hate to use that word, unfair. It's a lie, and they're capitalizing on our emotions. It's a lie, and they're capitalizing on Europeans' emotions. As it is, we make our own mistakes. We will screw up on our own. We do not need some media report and some lie to make it, we don't need their help to screw up. All right. We're good at it by ourselves. Anyway. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. If you benefited from this, thank you. I'm glad you listened in and learned something new. Please hit the like and subscribe button. And if you hit that bell, you get notified when I go live stream. And be sure to tune in on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time to tfrlive.com. I'll be live for a 2-hour show. It's called Quantum Connections. You can support me at paypal.me/lucky1. That's LUCKEE1. And that link will be available in the notes also. That's just a tip jar. Okay. Let's do tune into Quantum Connections tomorrow night. Oh, we are going to be having a new show. It's going to be a TFR round table. Yes, it's going to be in the daytime. It's going to be about 2 p.m. Eastern time. So it's going to be earlier for those of you on the West Coast and pretty late for those on in Europe. But we're going to, and it's all the different hosts getting together and discussing the events of the day, what's going on, helpful hints, public service announcements, and things like that. It's going to be more news type, but relaxed news type with no fear, no speculation, and none of the Q crap either. I'm sorry, guys, but I don't abide in that Q crap. All right, you know what I'm talking about. I won't have it because that's a lot of, anyway, get me started on that. What I do like about this, it should be for another topic, for another video, but I'm going to go ahead and give a little cliffhanger about it. What I am seeing, though, is with the shutdown of all the borders, that also has to stem the flow of child trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking. And when I say sex trafficking, I'm not talking about consenting adults entering into an exchange. I am talking about, and I'm not going to go into the, the pimp thing and all that stuff. That's under a different thing. Okay. I'm talking about the child trafficking. That, if nothing else, if nothing stopped the flow of traffic, that is a serious inhibitor of child trafficking. There's probably ways they're figuring out to get around it, but it's up to us to clean this behavior up. So I do have to say that the closures of all the borders is kind of a good thing. 100% checking on everybody for this coronavirus. If this was planned, I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe perhaps somebody saw an opportunity to stop child trafficking through this scare. I'm just going to leave it there. Okay, guys. I love you guys. Oh, more stuff in the chat room. Sorry, guys. Let's see what that is. In front of the round table. Thank you, Dawn. There is a link to the round table. No, there's no link to the round table yet. It's going to be on tfrlive.com, that radio station, Truth Frequency Radio. And again, it's going to be 2 p.m. on the East Coast weekdays. That's Monday through Thursday, because on Fridays we have a lot of different content there and that spot is taken. So again, it's going to be just a round table of hosts discussing issues, things like that. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming. I really do appreciate it. And good, happy Sunday morning. Hope you all have a great one.